Here we go again. Ubisoft reportedly canceled an Assassin's Creed game set around the American Civil War because of Yasuke backlash and political turmoil in the US. The game was meant to take place primarily during the Reconstruction era and would have featured a black assassin confronting the emergence of the Ku Klux Klan. Oh no. Oh no, and it got canceled. No. I mean, this was just the next step. This was the natural progression after we got Black Yasuke in Japan. I mean, these games are just social propaganda at this point. So this really was the next step. But thank God it got canceled. But let's read the article. A new GameFile report claims that Ubisoft canceled an Assassin's Creed game that would have been set in the US Civil War and the Reconstruction period that followed. According to GameFile's sources, the decision to cancel the game was made in 2024, in part because of the backlash against the reveal of the Black Samurai Yasuke in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Okay, let's be very clear. It was not backlash against the reveal of just a black man. It was backlash against the reconstruction of history, where they framed Yasuke, who was basically just a servant, who was bought because he was interesting, because he was one of the only black guys in Japan. He was basically a collectible, honestly. If we're being completely honest, that's what he was. But the reason there's backlash is because they turned him into some Giga Chad samurai that just never existed. And you run around as a big black guy slaughtering Japanese people in feudal Japan for the first ever Assassin's Creed game finally set in Japan. That's the problem that people had. Not just that he was black. So let's be very clear about that. But more pressingly, over concerns about the current political climate in the US. And notice how they made this decision in 2024, probably following Trump's election, when they realized, oh wait, people aren't just buying into our propaganda. People aren't just going this way. The wind's actually blowing the other way. Guys, shit, what do we do? We were going to make a KKK black guy killing white people game. It was going to be sweet, but now we have to cancel it because it turns out everyone thinks that's retarded. Oh no. GameFile says it interviewed 5 current and former Ubisoft employees who spoke about the project and its cancellation under the condition of anonymity. The game was apparently going to tell a story of formerly enslaved black man, of course, because you can't just have a black character who wasn't a slave. He has to be oppressed and take on the white man, because that has to further the social message. Or so these game devs think, because they can't just make video games anymore. They have to make fucking leftist propaganda. But sorry, I'm just going to read the article. Sorry. After moving west to start a new life, he's recruited by the Assassin Brotherhood. Following that, he would return to the US South. Uh-oh. Coming into conflict with groups including the emerging Ku Klux Klan, the white supremacist hate group that continues to operate to... oh my, what the fuck is this? Just write your article. You don't need to inject this dog shit. Continues to operate today. How many KKK members are there in the US today? Hundreds? Maybe? I doubt there's even 1,000. I would guess it's in the hundreds. The game was in the concept phase and years away from the release when the cancellation occurred, but work was reportedly underway. Well, thank God it was canceled, because that would have been I would have loved for them to make it and release it because it would have been good content and they would have lost a lot of money, which I think would have been fucking great. But I mean, it's smart, let's say, for them to cancel it. GameFile sources, all either current or former employees of Ubisoft, said developers were enthusiastic about the game. Of course they were. They were enthusiastic about it because they got to further their social ideologies. They got to push their propaganda into the video game. That's why they were enthusiastic about it. Not because it had some cool, new, innovative gameplay. No, it's because they were happy that they were able to use it as a tool for propaganda. Their propaganda, more accurately. Which some felt had the potential to make a positive social impact. Oh no! The developers were enthusiastic, which some felt had the potential to make a positive social impact. I'm just gonna harp on this one more time. These developers were enthusiastic about this game, not because they thought it was a good game that told a good story with good gameplay. They were enthusiastic about it because it had the potential to make a positive social impact. Understand, these are the developers that they're interviewing here. These are the kind of people that are working on these Assassin's Creed games. These are not game developers that love video games. These are activists. But despite initially being approved by Despite initially being approved by Ubisoft leadership, it was eventually decided that the subject matter was too controversial, especially now as the Trump administration makes moves to walk back civil rights legislation and restore honors and memorials to the Confederacy, which fought to maintain slavery during the American Civil War. Yeah, you know who the Confederates were? Democrats. They will never tell you that, though. The slave owners? Democrats. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Crazy. Lincoln, Republican. But you'll never hear about any of that. As the Trump administration makes moves to walk back civil rights legislation and restore honors and memorials to the Confederacy. Like, that is the most retarded shit I've read. Like this, whoever wrote this article is a fucking psycho. They're clearly just an insane leftist propagandist, because you could just tell. Like, it's not subtle. They're not subtle at all. Which fought to maintain slavery during the American Civil War. One source said it was too political in a country too unstable to make it short. While some of the game was meant to take place during the Civil War itself, the bulk of it would have been set during the Reconstruction era, the decade plus that immediately followed. While Reconstruction was intended to address matters like granting citizenship to former slave... Okay, so that's why they chose this period. Okay, now we get it. So they can have a black rights activist protagonist that runs around killing white KKK members. This is like the wet dream of these psychos who are these devs that were hired by these studios that are pushing this shit. This is exactly what they wanted. It got canceled. But again, I would have loved for them to make it because it would have been good content and they would have cost the company a lot of money and maybe they would have gotten fired. Just maybe. I lost my place. Sorry. Okay. I think I was right here. The decade plus that immediately followed. While Reconstruction was intended to address matters like granting citizenship to former slaves and reintegrating former Confederate states into a restored United States, the process faced furious and often violent resistance from whites in the South. Yeah, Democrats. Let's be very clear again. Which ultimately undermined it. Reconstruction was formally ended in 1877, leading to a resurgence of white supremacy and violent repression and disenfranchisement of blacks in the American South. Anyway, it is, in other words, an intensely fraught topic in the US, a point driven home by the reaction to Yasuke in Assassin's Creed Shadows. Again, the reaction wasn't just that, oh, it's a black guy, why are you putting a black guy in my Assassin's Creed game? The reaction was because they took a historical figure, Yasuke, who is, again, essentially a collectible of the Emperor because he was a black guy in Japan, which was very rare. But they took him and they forged him into a cool samurai, and they told everyone, no, this is actually real, guys. Look at this historian that we hired who's totally not full of shit. Said that this is real and that Yasuke was a cool samurai who ran around slaughtering Japanese people in Japan. This is totally real. That's why people were upset, not just because he was black. Because you were gaslighting everyone and calling people that said this is fucking stupid racist. That's why. Let's be very clear about that. God, whoever wrote this article is a fucking piece of shit leftist propagandist cuck, and I hate him. And I don't even know him. Okay, sorry, we're going to finish the article out here. It is, in other words, an intensely fraught topic in the US, a point driven home by the reaction of Yasuke in Assassin's Creed, which was ugly, to put it mildly. The reaction also exposed the soft underbelly of Ubisoft leadership in response to noise from the worst corners of gamerdom. CEO Yez Guillemette said in September 2024, that our goal is not to push any specific agenda. See, that's what it takes. You have to have like a fucking CEO or someone step in and say, hey, you fucking psycho devs, quit putting propaganda in our video games. You're driving all the customers away. And that its intent is to simply make games for fans and players that everyone can enjoy. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen unless you fucking fire everyone and rehire everyone without this DEI bullshit in place. Because otherwise you're going to keep having these activists and they're going to keep poisoning your games. Ironically, the people who actually make those games seem less reticent, I've never read that word in my life, about standing up for themselves and their work, but they're not the ones who make the final decision about what does and does not get made. Again, that's because they're fucking activists that want to push this propaganda. That's what these devs are. That's why they wanted this game to go through so bad. Ubisoft's self-professed apolitical bent goes back much further than Assassin's Creed Shadows. Despite making games that look from a distance like they might have something to say, Far Cry 5 leaps immediately to mind. But it's far from alone. Ubisoft has repeatedly insisted in the past that it does not make political video games. And yet you made Assassin's Creed Shadows. But there are limits to how long you can maintain that no politics facade. Is it facade? Fake? It's facade, right? These are words that I never use. Like, who the fuck uses these words? A farce, whatever. These pretentious leftist fucking stupid ass writers. What's the name of the dude who wrote this? Andy Chalk. Definitely a fat white dude. 100% fat white liberal dude. So anyways, to close out the article. I believe I was right here. But it's far from alone. Ubisoft has repeatedly insisted in the past that it does not make political video games, but there are limits to how long it can maintain that no politics fake facade, and making a game about a black assassin during Reconstruction would unavoidably be way beyond them. God, this article was fucking disgusting. The cancellation happened amidst a very rough period for Ubisoft, which was struggling with delays, underperforming games, and a sagging share price. As PC gamers Fraser Brown put it, 2024 was an absolutely dire year for the company. Yep, because that was the year they released Assassin's Creed Shadows. One source told GameFile that Ubisoft's finances had an impact on the decision to cancel the project as well. Yeah, they were like, hey guys, we need our games to make money. So let's stop making disgusting propaganda and just make games that people will actually enjoy and play. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Crazy, I know. Crazy stance for a video game company to have, to just make video games and not insert disgusting politics into it. Crazy, I know. Does that mean we might see this game resurrected at some point in the future? Anything is possible, but given how things are going right now in the US, and frankly, some of the reactions to the GameFile report I've seen on social media, I wouldn't bet on it. No. Oh, Andy Chalk is so sad that they're not making a game where you can play as a black samurai, or I guess a black assassin killing evil white people. Yeah, this is definitely a self-hating fat white liberal guy, you can just tell by just, it wasn't subtle at all. It was not subtle at all. You can just pick it up from his writing. But yeah, this was a really shitty article, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty funny though, knowing that they spent time making this game, and they were probably, you know, riding on the coattails of Shadows. They're like, yeah, people are gonna love this. They like Shadows. Oh wow, we got Biden in the office. Wait until they get a taste of our next project. Oh, Trump got elected. Oh wait, Assassin's Creed Shadow, everyone hated that. Oh wait, the CEOs and higher ups are telling us that we actually have to make games that make money and don't push leftist propaganda. Oh no. And here we are today. So that's the end of the video. Like it if you liked it, dislike if you dislike it. Thanks for watching this long. Subscribe if you want. I'm a new channel, so subscriptions go a long way. And thanks again for watching. Peace.